Hey guys, Villain Theory reveals are back on the menu and I am super excited, but I know you guys will just want to see the cards, so how about I show you Valkyrie? Valkyrie has the Defender trait. That's right, Fantasy Flight Games are including the old Defenders alongside the new street level Defenders. Now in this video, I'm joined by different creators for different cards. We're primarily talking about 4 of the new cards, 4 allies, and my first guest is D20 Woodworking, a certified expert in Valkyrie. We're going to get to see their very first look, their first reaction, and let's see if we can find out if Valkyrie is the greatest ally of all time. After that, we have Echo, who's a protection ally, and while Echo the hero isn't in the game yet, I know somebody who loves protection, and that's Andrej from the Crash Space, and we will get to see their first look at the Echo ally. And I should say, all of these cards can be found in either Luke Cage or Jessica Jones hero packs, which are scheduled to release on the 21st of August. Coming in hot next, we've got the toughest lawyer in town. It's not Daredevil, it's She-Hulk. And who better to talk about her with me than the Charred Gambit? People are calling him the king of reveals. He's calling himself She-Hulk's #1 fan. And he's going to let you know that as we get into some really good detail about this ally who is also a defender. And if we have She-Hulk, we've got to have Hulk. I love this card, but I'm going to wait to get into detail because I have a special guest for this, and I knew immediately that to talk about Hulk, I needed someone green and angry. But I'm the only content creator I know that fits that description, so instead, I found the awesome, the amazing Brandt from Step Into the Portal, who is a major fan of Hulk and loves to see Hulk smash. And I absolutely loved the conversation we had. Everyone's links will be in the description. This should also hopefully be like a collaboration video. So if you click subscribe down below, you can subscribe to any or all of these creators all in the same place. And I think it's about time we got into some details, so please join me in welcoming D20 Woodworking, and let's see what he makes of Valkyrie. Could you confirm for the people that you have not seen the card you're about to see?
Correct. I have seen nothing. I have been given no hints on anything besides it is Marvel Champions related. That's all I know.
Okay, so here we go.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, Valkyrie. A part of me thought it was like maybe Kool-Aid Man, and I was like, this, certainly they're not going to do it, but this is equally as good.
Yeah, I mean, Kool-Aid Man would have been good, but I need to know if this is the greatest ally of all time or not. So that's what we're here to discuss. When you're ready, feel free to read out the card.
All right. So before I even read it, I can definitely say this is the greatest ally of all time. This will be in every single deck. I don't care if you're doing Guardians, Web Warriors, it doesn't even matter. But I guess, we need to make the video a little bit longer. So we got a 3-cost ally leadership, Valkyrie Brunhilde, 1 thwart, 2 attack stat line, each only doing 1 consequential damage, with 3 life. She's Asgard Defender, comes in with toughness, which is fantastic. All right, so interrupt. When another ally would be defeated, discard Valkyrie from play. Instead, heal that ally until they have 1 remaining hit point. So she is self-sacrificing to make the game even better for you, which is fantastic, which is amazing. And it's not a forced interrupt, so you can choose even which ally you want to be able to keep around. That's interesting.
It's an unusual thing, right? Because we have a Valkyrie ally in aggression who enters play, damages a minion. This is kind of a different side to her. And yeah, you're gonna, she seems to want to be sacrificed to save a different ally.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter how they're defeated. It could be
Hmm.
could be from consequential or anything else. Then you discard her and instead heal that ally. But yeah, I like that because then use her as a blocker. You get your value out of her, especially if you're doing in leadership something like a sidekick build and you're running or a Voltron build, right? And you're running someone else really far down, and you're like, oh shoot, I need to make sure they don't die. you know like she can keep kind of that game alive, which is interesting. Also, we have to point out the artwork because, as always with every single Valkyrie artwork, it is absolute perfection. It is great with her riding Aragorn. So
I really like the art, but she is on a flying horse without the aerial trait, which, makes me, we were almost there. But Asgard,
almost there.
Asgard is interesting, not Valkyrie, but Thor, again, Bifrost her into play. But I like what you said about the interrupt, about trying to save like a really important, like upgraded ally. I did think about that, but it's not where I went first, but it's where I ended up. Like, that is something, unless I'm missing something, I feel like that's gonna be one of her primary uses.
Yeah, where did your mind go at first when you saw this? Were you just like, "Man, they just wanna nerf Valkyrie so that she's not goated and we can't get a final chump block," or what?
I mean, almost like she replaces somebody else chump blocking, and I'm thinking, is there an
Hmm,
ally with Retaliate that she can kind of keep in play to block again with Retaliate? And technically, there's US Agent, an Avenger ally, but there's not really much Retaliate on allies. Then I was thinking about maybe like a big heavy hitting ally, have Valkyrie get discarded, but it wasn't quite clicking with me. There's the Groot Guardian ally. If you're on a Guardian hero, if Groot would be
mhm.
defeated, you keep him alive. I presume he would then like heal up to 3 hit points because he heals 2 if he survives damage. There's a couple of things, but I wasn't super satisfied. And I do kind of think she's there as the protector, just for a very valuable ally. Has kind of been what I'm expecting to use her for.
Yeah, I think, again, for Voltron builds, this is kinda what you're looking for to throw in your deck, to help out.
I have a couple more thoughts about this if you're interested.
100% I am.
So I do like protecting an important ally, which makes me think of these scenarios where you have to protect an ally. The stupid senator in
Mm,
Sabretooth or the Morlocks, that kind of thing. And also, we're getting a lot of ally hate in a lot of scenarios, like in Agents of Shield. Dance of Death and Black Widow hitting all your secondary and third characters. I thought that was kind of interesting. There is, Age of Apocalypse, Unus. If your ally is defeated, you're going to put a threat on the Infinite Gene Pool side scheme. And with Valkyrie's wording, she doesn't just save another ally, but she is discarded and not defeated. She's not defeated
mm.
instead, so she'll bypass like allies getting defeated negative things. And I'm pretty sure that Tony, the lead designer, has teased quite a bit of anti-ally stuff in the upcoming Fear No Evil books, releasing like, I don't know, 2 days after this video goes out. So I think Valkyrie being like an ally protector has become increasingly more useful. I almost wonder, you know, if it's an ally I would bring looking at the scenario and like, this could wipe out my allies. I'll bring this in preparation more than I'd splash it into like a general purpose deck.
Yeah. It makes me wonder too with other things because I know there's certain cards that deal damage to, all your characters or whatever. And would Valkyrie be able to okay. Is it all damage at the same exact time? So then this way, if it dealt damage to the other ally, could Valkyrie essentially discard herself before she takes that damage? Or is it all exactly at the same exact time?
I'm thinking even if it is all at the exact time, it's an interrupt, right? So it sort of jumps ahead. Like this would happen. I can do
Oh.
this, and maybe it works. I might send that one into the rules people, But I think it's a good point for people to maybe consider.
Yeah, no, I think this is or just overall I think this is absolutely great though cuz again, I think having toughness on any ally is great, right? Cuz it's a
Hmm.
free block for that round. Her having 3 life gets her, basically for 3 costs, right? You get a block, you get 4 damage essentially and
Yep.
then to chump block for someone else. So again, I think they're leaning into like, hey, kind of keep your allies out there a little bit longer than you normally would sort of thing.
I think you're reading this incredibly well because you haven't seen everything I've seen. And to tease for the people who might have already seen a bit, I don't know. There might be another couple of allies like that. I think there's definitely a push to keep your allies around a bit longer. And, Valkyrie, ignoring her interrupt, still seems pretty good. Waiting to use that initial tough could be a little bit slow tempo if you can't exhaust her for something like organized support or strength in numbers, but it's totally viable. Or you could just attack and use that tough up, get like 6 damage if you needed it. Leadership doesn't have a lot of access to allies with tough. It's not that it doesn't. There's like the Captain America 6 cost ally. You can sacrifice your allies with noble sacrifice, but not a lot of 3 cost allies you drop down. It's got that practical toughness. So I definitely think you could ignore the interrupt and still have a good result with this Valkyrie ally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that they say discard Valkyrie instead of defeat Valkyrie. Well, I don't like it. I wish it was the other way around because then I could wrap a response her back in and just like spam this over and over. I mean, I guess you could just make the call her back in if you need to.
I know because it's Valkyrie, you want to play her a lot, but aren't you happy that Valkyrie won't be defeated so much? Just discard her. Isn't that nicer for Valkyrie?
It is, you know, it shows the true greatness of her personally because again, she can never truly be defeated. Not by the game, not by the fans, not by the haters. She is always there, persistent, always watching. And it's great to see that they recognize her greatness because as you mentioned before, you know, not only is she a hero, but she has the aggression version of her. So we're gonna be getting, I'm sure, the protection version of her at some point and the justice version of her, and they're all going to be phenomenal. And then soon we can just build a Valkyrie deck of just all Valkyrie cards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like what 4 years between Valkyrie allies. So in approximately a century, you will have your deck, and I will look forward to that. A quick thought I had is she's got the defender trait. We're getting defensive formation, so potentially you might get it down to like 1 hit point, and for a tough on her, use her a few times to block a few attacks, and then she lasts longer in case you need that interrupt to save the other ally. Maybe that's an angle. So that's kind of cool, as well as actually righteous purpose. If an ally is at 1 health, they get a big stat boost. She could keep a different ally with that big stat boost, which might be kind of interesting. We'll have to see how it works out, but
Yeah, that's actually a good point because I forgot they're kind of like leading into this whole one hit point thing over and
mhm.
over and over. And so yeah, this will definitely do that. I mean, righteous purpose, I mean, again, just it just shows how, you know, giving she is that she's willing to help out another card just be truly righteous and fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it for us for Valkyrie. So thank you so much for coming on to talk about what you are claiming is the greatest ally of all time.
Yes, absolutely. And I think once everyone plays her, they will understand and they will have it in every single deck. And the future will be building not with 15 cards, but 16 cards.
Okay, up next we have Andrej from the Crash Space with his first ever reaction to Echo, and it's a good one. How are you doing, and what do you know about what's coming up?
Hey, Villain Theory. Thanks so much for having me. This is an absolute treat. I know nothing. I got a message saying that there's a new card from Jessica Jones or Luke. I didn't ask for aspect. I didn't ask for card type. I'm going into this with, just hoping for the best.
I am so excited to surprise you with this. Are you ready?
Yeah, yeah, totally ready. All right. Okay, we have an this is a protection card, which is kind of a surprise. So back of pack probably.
Mm-hmm.
3 cost ally.
Yep.
It's Echo. It's Maya Lopez, who is in the Fear No Evil box as one of the heroes. 1 thwart, 1 attack, each on 1 consequential, 3 health. Defender traded, no surprise. Martial artist trait, really cool text. It says reduce the amount of damage Echo takes from each enemy attack by your hero's defense. What? Wait, that's sick. What?
It's good, right?
Yo, okay, so you said I was definitely gonna like this card. I was like, what's the chance there's a protection card
Mhm.
in one of these 2 packs? Because this comes in, sorry, it's cut off on the bottom. Whose card is this?
This is from Jessica Jones's pack at the back.
Whoa. Wow. Okay, so this is a back of pack protection card. And notably, Defender is a trait that we're going to get a lot of support through the whole wave because there's a lot of Defender synergy stuff. So far, the game only has like 4 Defenders, 2 are protection, 2 are justice, I think. So this is nice. Also worth saying, the face paint Echo applies is in remembrance of her slain father's last touch. Whoa, that's good text. What is this? This is free block from
Yeah.
forever. Damn.
Yeah, so I knew it's a protection card, and I'm like, who do I know that loves protection? And there was only one choice.
Yeah.
And I think this card is so cool and probably quite
I think
good.
that's really good. Okay, so like it's interesting because if your defense stat is good, you don't technically need somebody to block for you. When I play protection, I don't like to play a lot of allies. So like low allies is good. We have the whole Ronin archetype, so that kind of makes sense. But imagine you have a 3 or 4 defense stat. Like she still has 3 health. So even if it bleeds over 1 or 2 boosts, like she's still going to survive probably multiple attacks. You also can just like block minions infinitely. Like not a lot of minions attack for more than 3. This is a 3 cost, like basically permanent toughness. This is nonsense. What is this? This is rad.
When I saw an Echo ally, I was like, oh wow. And it's like, wait, it's not basic. I was expecting basic, for like Daredevil's team up, but it's protection. And it's like, what's she gonna do? Because the hero tucks events. I'm like, oh, she's gonna do something crazy with events. But instead of mimicking the events like the instead of mimicking the events like the hero, she mimics the stats, which is a cool way to kind of do her power a different way. If you can get up to like 5 or 6 defense stat, which is actually super easy with all the new stats boosts, it's just an extra block for the table forever, which is in multiplayer very good and still good in like solo. Honestly, like I don't think it's terrible. Like
It's weird because like again, if you're playing defensive hide protection, you don't need to protect yourself. But as soon as you hit like 2 players, I mean, even in 1 player, it's good. There's that card I don't play a lot. I think it's probably a support and protection that says when an ally defends and survives, you can ready them. So like she can actually block a 2-player table, no issue, like per turn cycle. And then if you have protection, you can also do some incidental healing, like good things you can do. It's weird because her stats don't actually matter. Like you could thwart for 1 and attack for 1, and that might not have an impact on how many attacks she survives in the long run. But I don't know if there's any way to increase her stats in a way that defending actually matters. Like you could play like the shield ops room. If she takes a bit of damage, you could do a bit of thwarting, but there's
Yep.
not like a huge amount of unflappable type payoffs for blocking with allies. The best is like you just blocked with an ally, and that's like inherently a pretty good thing to do in this game. I mean, this is wild. That's actually, yeah, that's pretty dang wild.
I've been listening to the interviews and things. Boom Guy did one on Winning
Yeah, yeah,
Hand.
yeah.
Talking to Tony, and he said, I think on the FFG live stream as well. He's not big into like blocking with
Yep.
allies, but I think it's like blocking with their one hit, like disposable. This is the allies' kind of entire purpose, and it interacts with your hero stats. And I love both of that. And kind of feel like this wave of content, they've decided that defending maybe needs a little boost because we got that card. I think it's called Stand Together, or Standalone. Standalone,
Yeah, that sounds
maybe.
right.
And it's in Echo's Precon. And the text is when you get attacked, basically you ready up if you're already exhausted, which is really good for multiplayer defending. It's also like +1 defense per round kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And that is restricted to not having any allies out. Like if you don't have any allies, you get to ready up when you're attacked. Really good for multiplayer defending. And I feel like maybe this ally is the answer to getting that kind of defensive boost, but not running the no allies kind of archetype. Instead, you've got an ally providing
Mhm.
it, if that makes sense.
Some of the like no allies cards like do still, they're okay. There's some cards that are like more expensive or less expensive about based off of how many allies you have. I think
Mhm.
some of them are okay if you only have 1 ally, so that's kind of interesting.
It's interesting, if you play on a standard against a slightly weaker hitting
Yeah.
villain, Echo can last a really long time with just 2 defense. If you're an expert against, I don't know, Thanos, might not be the
Yeah.
case, but you can still build up your defense stat
Yeah.
to make it possible against him, like pretty realistically. So it's an ally if you build into, you will get a lot out of it. Yeah, big fan of this. I think between this card and standalone, multiplayer defending, which I know isn't your like forte,
Yeah.
but that's getting a big boost.
Yeah.
But something interesting for solo play or still potentially multiplayer. Do you know the card that was revealed called the Best Defense? So it's a temporary card, an upgrade, I believe. You play it, and it gives you +1 defense, but then your thwarting and attack stat
Is
use your defense
yeah,
stat
right.
in their place.
Mhm.
So you can potentially boost up your defense with that, and that will boost up Echo's defense. Use her to defend, so you're ready, just able to do more of your character, and you won't be exhausted going into those phases. I think that's going to line up really well as well,
Yeah.
because that card isn't reliant on allies.
Yeah, I can see that. Like the issue with like increasing your defense stat is you're generally, like exhausting to defend during the hero phase, or sorry, the villain
Mhm.
phase. And there's a lot of ways to ready yourself in protection, that's for sure. But it's nice that you can use that stat boost some way else. You can not exhaust yourself, and then Echo uses it, and then you're, very, very, very ready to fight.
Do you have any extra thoughts about this card before we head
I
off?
mean, art's good. Color's really good. That orange on top of the green is like
Yeah.
sick. This is really, really striking. I don't know too much about Echo the character. So I'm like really excited to dive into Fear No Evil to figure out more. But like this is great. Also, for what it's worth, having a what's it called? A fist icon is not incredibly common on protection cards, but you definitely want more fist icons
Mhm.
in most protection decks because you have so many requirement kickers, like what doesn't kill me or ready for a fight. All that sort of stuff needs the physical icon.
Yeah, pretty handy. I have read Echo's like a few comics where she's introduced. They are A, really, really good, but B, the hero is really, really faithful to that. So that's really cool. And I think this ally works as well. If she sees it, she can do it. So if she sees how you're defending,
Oh,
she probably
cool.
like dodge in the same
Yeah,
ways.
that
So
tracks.
yeah.
Yeah, the photographic reflexes type thing.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm glad you liked this card, and I hope everyone at home enjoys this too, and will enjoy it when Jessica's pack arrives.
Yeah, we're just a couple weeks out, mind you. I think by the time this video comes out, I think that week Fear No Evil comes out, which is incredibly exciting. But of course, thanks so much for having me. This is an absolute treat. You're totally right. I was really gonna like this card, so that lined up great, really well. Thanks again.
All right, and up next, we have She-Hulk, as talked about by myself, and the Charred Gambit. Charr had seen She-Hulk before, so we get into some really good detail here. Check it out. Welcome to the channel. I think this is your first appearance. Are you excited to talk about She-Hulk?
Oh yes, this is my first time here, and we all know She-Hulk's the best hero in the game. So of course, I'm really excited to talk about the best ally in the wave. Not biased.
Yeah, I mean, She-Hulk is a super fun character, like a core set hero that's like aged perfectly. Let's talk about the card. Let's get the card out there for the people.
Yeah.
Would you like to read it out?
Yeah, sure, I've got this. So, we're looking at this new card, unrevealed here as until now. It is a 4-cost basic ally, She-Hulk. She has 2 thwart, 2 attack, and she takes 2 consequential on both of those. Her traits are Defender Gamma. She has 3 hit points, and her text box has Toughness, and then also she has a response. After She-Hulk enters play, give your identity a tough status card. It's got the flavor text, "You interrupted my workout," with a mental resource.
I love the flavor text and like the art, and she's like, "I'm here, glasses off." Like, I feel like this card has a lot of attitude, which I think is
Yeah.
perfect.
Oh, it's perfect for She-Hulk. Yeah, there's no they got it down every appearance of this girl. It's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about this card straight up? Because I see toughness, I see she gives you a tough, and like there's a lot of like, if I were to think about, She-Hulk the hero, how would I make She-Hulk the ally? I wouldn't think multiple tough cards.
Yeah, I think the implementation of kind of this ability of multiple tough cards is definitely different to the interpretation we have in the game as a hero, but I don't necessarily think it's wrong. In terms of what I think in general, I mean, because these gamma kind of heroes are very very resilient, so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of displaying that here with her having a tough and giving you one, almost like she's defending you in a way. I think that I think it's super strong. I think there's no other way to say that. Like, I don't know. I think 4 for blanking 2 activations against most villains in the game is very good, and it doesn't even have to be against you. It can be, if you're playing multiplayer, she jumps in the way of somebody else. One of them is you, obviously, but you don't have to take both of them, is the thing. So, obviously, it's a bit different in solo, but if you want to speed up the tempo of the card, you can use both of them on the first turn, which is very good. I think survivability is a thing that a lot of heroes, especially older heroes in the game, have to cognizantly think about when you're deck building, and this is a card that kind of solves that for 2 turns if you need it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, when you get her down to her last hit point, you could just block again if you wanted to. She could potentially block 3 attacks. And the hero does have 15 hit points. So
Yeah.
that's kind of that totally kind of makes sense in that way. But yeah, I was really surprised to see A, She-Hulk, but B, tough, and potentially block again. And all of that, like, condensed, maybe compressed, there's probably a better word for it, into one card slot. You put this one card in your deck, and you have 2 to 3 blocks. Like, from basic,
Mhm.
is really, really handy. Really expensive. 4 cost is going to be most of your turn, and if you don't want to like attack with her immediately, you want to preserve
Mhm.
that toughness. It's just a little bit slower tempo, but it is still 2 to 3 attacks blocked. And if you only block 2
Mhm.
attacks, you get to attack. And
Mhm.
when you get her down to 1 hit point, there's some fun stuff as well there. Which
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
yeah.
I think we both have the same cards in mind. So I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
shout
yeah,
that
yeah.
out.
Yeah, we'll talk about the other cards. So obviously, this hero, this ally comes out, and it's gonna combo with the cards in Fear No Evil, and these have been revealed previously. She combos very well with the 2 cards Defensive Formation and
Yes.
Righteous Purpose. Both of those are really interesting with a card like this. The Defender trait is doing a lot of heavy lifting, no pun intended there, because of the fact she can consistently get a tough status card back onto her because of her Defender trait. And that combos with the Righteous Purpose if you really want to go that hard in that direction. And now she's at 1 hit point and she's activating for 4 or 4 every single turn, whatever you need, which can be a very strong. Like, she's really strong when she comes in because she gives you survivability, and then also she's a strong outlet for output if you're really leaning into that in leadership or something like that, which I think is very cool.
Yeah, and I think that was well said. When you said like outlet for output, my brain was like, that flowed well. Yeah, I agree entirely. Get all those defender kind of cards. Well, defensive formation is defender, righteous purpose works with anyone,
Mhm,
but they all come in Luke's hero pack along with this ally, which we should probably mention. I
mhm.
forgot about that.
Yeah, yes.
But yeah, I'm
We're good
really
at
looking forward
this.
to. We're a professional operation here. No, but I think that's going to be a really fun combo to do that. But I think you can just throw her into any deck, theoretically, that wants defending. You don't need to have a defender thing. You don't need to have a righteous purpose kind of plan going on.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that people are gonna look at this, and even me included, the first time being like, "Oh, she can block 3 times." But as I've, maybe this is me as a player, but as I've played the game more, I really do feel the effects of like kind of that tempo lost turn when you
Hmm.
block with an ally. So usually, I think when I play this card, I'm probably just gonna swing with her the first time,
Yeah.
and it's still 2 blocks for 4, which is pretty solid. Uh, I mean, if you compare it to something like invulnerability, I'm not like punching down or anything, right? That's 3 for 1 tough, and this is like this blocks 2 things, and you also still get a tough on your identity. It's very, I think it's very good, and I think there's just like so many ways, especially with the new cards, to make her super interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
I was going to say just on the point you said there. I was thinking about this card just before we recorded, and we have another ally in the game who can give you identity of tough, who is Polaris, and she's a very good for X-Men heroes. You know, you play her free cost, she can give an identity a tough card. So in a way, it could be similar because if you attack with Polaris and then block with her, as well as factor in a
mhm.
tough, it's 4 damage and 2 villain blocks. And with She-Hulk, you can kind of do the same. Play her, get the tough on your identity, attack, knocks out her tough, attack again, gets it down to 1 health, then block with her again. So 4 damage and 2 blocks in both cases. She-Hulk is
Yeah.
more expensive, but not trait locked and in basic, which I think is really fun. But even more than that, she could fort for 2 and fort for 2, which is quite nice to have as well. So I think, if I'm playing aggression or protection, I want that threat removal. Like that is also a really useful kind of thing she can do.
Just her having that 2 threat does kind of like show that difference between her and the Hulk proper. It's the mental trait, the 2 thwart, and of course I think that's probably the stronger aspect of a card. I mean, Polaris feels like when you're playing Green X-Men, it's like a best in slot card because it's so efficient.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 damage, the tough, and everything. And then, like you said, even for 1 extra cost, the fact that this is basic and has no restrictions, I think people are going to find ways to slot in this card, and I think it's going to perform very well. What about you? Is there anything sort of you're cooking up with there that you might think is interesting?
Going to be a good card maybe for Colossus. If you can afford her, getting a tough
Hmm.
for a way that is, a card that I would say, yeah, it's a little bit more efficient than Invulnerability, just a little bit. I think he's going to, if he can afford it with his forehand size, if he starts in hero form, is the big question mark. But otherwise, getting the tough is going to be good. But, Luke getting a tough as well. Obviously, there's
Yeah.
sort of a reason it comes with him in that way as well. So definitely shout that out. Luke has the Harlem's Hero event that was revealed, which readies an ally, which could maybe help with the tempo.
He also has 2 ways. He has, I didn't want to put you on the spot. He
Oh
has
yeah,
Fogwell's Gym too. That also would ready the character. So yeah, he doesn't have any of those tempo concerns with an ally like this. But like you said, there are very cool ways in other aspects, like the Hanger Bay. Another ally in this set of reveals that Hanger Bay I think is crazy for. But this is definitely a good one to speed that tempo up. But
yeah, for sure. I think that's mostly what I've got. Any last
yeah.
thoughts for the fans?
If your hero needs something like this, where you need 2 to 3 turns of variability, it's pretty important. This is a kind of a 1 card solve. Maybe you're not a person who really likes the strength of cards that do something like that, but what I think that a card like this does is it gives you flexibility to play more breadth of options, maybe more greedy options, because this is your solve for survivability. And in that way, I think the card's very fun. I mean, look at the art, look at the flavor text. I think everything here kind of fits really well thematically. Yeah, best hero in the game. It's a really good ally. What else can I say? I think that's my sell on She-Hulk. It's awesome.
Best hero in the game, I'm gonna no comment. I do really like She-Hulk though, and yeah, I think my last word on this will be: I think when you play this is a satisfying ally. It's a big, expensive ally, and it has a big impact. Toughs, another tough, all this kind of stuff going on. I'm grabbing for these tokens. I think that's going to be satisfying, and I think a She-Hulk ally who is not impactful would have been a failure. So that big, like, satisfying thing. I think they did well.
Yeah, for sure. And they did a great job on this one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope everyone enjoyed this.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And if you want to see me and Charr talk a little bit more about She-Hulk and the Hulk ally, check out his video in the links below. Last but definitely not least, we need to talk about Hulk. So let's jump in mid-conversation with Brandt as he tells me how much he loves the Hulk hero, and then we'll get into the ally.
I love the Hulk hero. I think he's super fun. He can do a lot, but he can also do nothing. You either have to go really fast with Hulk, or you have to go really slow and build him up like a boulder. And he doesn't play that mid game well at all. So I am definitely a Hulk fan. Hulk smash!
I love the way you set that up because we're about to talk about the Hulk ally, but I think some of what you've said about Hulk might apply to this guy. So I'm going to read him out. He's a 4-cost ally with no forwarding stat, which, is pretty fitting for this game. I think the hero the ally in aggression we've got, none of them are very threat removally. But he's got 2 attack and 2 consequential damage, which will come in handy as we go through this. He's got 5 hit points, the defender and gamma trait, and he gets +1 attack for each rage counter on him, and he gains those with his response after the villain attacks you. Place 1 rage counter here. And the first thing that strikes me about this is actually that Hulk is the defender, because my understanding is that the defenders with Daredevil and Jessica are not the defenders with maybe Hulk and, I don't know, Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense why he would be in this wave if it's representing when he was a defender. Yeah, it's a neat ability that goes along with that. Like the more you're getting attacked, the more he's building up, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we actually almost talked about this just before we started recording, about how Drax apparently had some of the mechanics that original Hulk as a hero is meant to have. And when Drax gets attacked, his attack goes up. When this Hulk, is on your board and you get attacked, now Hulk's attack is going up. So I feel like there's maybe kind of a mirroring thing going on there, which feels pretty fitting.
Now, if I remember correctly, there is no cap to this, correct?
There is no cap whatsoever. It's just, if you somehow get attacked 100 times, Hulk will have 102 attacks there, which is exciting. This is realistically not happening, but it is really funny that it could. So I'm quite excited by that. I feel like the big question with this guy, how do you wait and try and build up some counters before you attack? Or for tempo, do you need to attack sooner and get some damage rolling out?
Well, and then there's also the option of healing him.
Yeah.
So you could first aid him, you could Voltron him. What's the one where you swing together?
There's like teamwork or unified strike. I think
Teamwork, that's the one, yeah.
Teamwork, yeah.
So then he wouldn't get his consequential damage, but you would use his attack. So as his attack builds up, I feel like the real tricky part is getting him on the table.
Yeah, because that's most of your turn, right? And he's only doing 2 damage maximum normally that turn you play him. So big, slow tempo kind of play, but he can build up to ridiculous numbers, is kind of my impression.
So you could defend in a multiplayer game to build up his counters?
Yeah, that's how I read it here. You can defend. He's also with that defender trait, the new defensive formation card that Luke comes with. Because we should say, Hulk is in Luke's hero pack. And, you can put Tufts onto him. There's actually ready for action already in leadership to put Tufts on him. But yeah, the defensive aspect is pretty interesting there. I think there's a lot of different ways you could use this. He feels very interactive. I really like the defensive angle in protection and multiplayer especially, pull more attacks to you. I was thinking about the taunt cards, like taunt, bait and switch, just make the villain hit you even more often. And I feel like certain decks are certain ways. You can maybe speed run his attack stat up to like 4, 5, and then you have a real powerhouse on your hands.
Yeah. So again, I think it goes back to getting him on the table, whether you're using call for backup to get him out to escape that cost, or he's basic, so you can use some power in all of us. If you have some other things in your deck, it might be a good spot for some Nick Fury and some the puppy, Blackjaw, to be in your discard pile, so you're not wasting those power in all of us till you see him. But yeah, he has very limited impact, if not no impact, when he comes out, and that's going to be the catch.
And I actually put some numbers together. Hopefully you can see this, but if not, I'm going to read it out. If you are playing Hulk and you attack with him once per round, because you could run readies to do like burst damage and all sorts, but just if you attack once per round, if you attack with him after you playing him, then you take an attack from the villain, attack with Hulk again. Without healing, he's gone. So he's got 3 attacks built into him. And if you start off, you get 9 damage total. But if you wait to get 1 counter, it's 12 damage. 2 counters, 15 damage. And 3 counters, 18 damage. So it goes up kind of like by a multiple of 3, assuming you don't mess with it in any other way. But playing a 4-cost card, and if you're patient enough, getting 18 damage, it feels like a really interesting design space. Like 9 to 18, just with 3 attacks difference is... I don't know, I'm really excited by this card. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Immediately I think of how to get even more value. So if you're in protection, I'm thinking taunt, baby.
Yeah, taunt, defending. I think there are some ways for protection to get this guy's stats up. And obviously leadership can, at least once his stats are up, ready him to quickly do a lot of damage, things like that. So I feel like those are the 2 aspects I'm most excited to use Hulk in. But he is basic, so maybe there's something somewhere else.
Toe-to-toe?
Toe-to-toe, yep. I mean, if you play Spider-Ham, he's got Petulant Pig, and he can afford Hulk, so you can make yourself get attacked extra. I wonder if like Spider-Woman with multi-aspect, there's some ways to get a lot of taunts in a deck. So you know what's really interesting, and I've heard the designers talk about this, is how do you make the protection kind of aspect deal damage, especially if you're in solo play, and I think even in multiplayer, how do you contribute to the end of the game if your entire deck is built around defending? And you can have an entirely defensive deck and just throw Hulk in there and build Hulk up, and he can help push toward the end of the game or something. Maybe that's a fun kind of angle.
Yeah, and it could be a turn where you couldn't defend for people at the table because a lot of people flip down. But so you've got all these events, but you've got Hulk, so you'll just drop those events to get Hulk on the table, or somebody's passing you a helicarrier, something like that. So you're getting him out, right? If the team kind of sees the value in him, they can help you to pay to get him out. But I can see ways. I mean, I'll tell you something. When I see something that is unlimited, I am here and excited to make unlimited way too powerful. So I want to have the world record for the most rage counters on the Hulk ally in all of Marvel Champions.
That sounds like a really fun challenge. You could kind of do like an achievement, like can you get Hulk up to this attack stat or something, like as a thing as well. I do think Hulk is really playable, but I kind of lean toward you have to kind of have a game plan or like an economy plan or like a plan to get extra value out of him. He's not like a splashable, I'll just throw in Hulk kind of card. But his damage does stack up pretty quickly. If I wait to get 2 counters and then start attacking, just attack 3 times, 15 damage. So a Justice deck looking for some damage, as long as you don't get Ultra Ego too much to avoid attacks, there's real potential there for anyone looking for damage to build up that damage. So I really like this card design, and I don't think it's too powerful. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it is Hulk. I'm okay if he is powerful. But that tempo hit really kind of, I think, keeps him in check.
Yeah, I think he's powerful, but at the right time in the game. He's not powerful out of the gate, thus it doesn't, feel too much. But late in the game, he's extremely powerful, especially if you can get readies on him with heals or whatever.
Maybe it's like earned power would be the way to describe it. It takes an effort, and then you get the reward you probably deserve, and you get to see Hulk go crazy.
Yeah, Hulk smash!
Yeah, I love it. I really like this. It's just a lot of fun packed into him.
Unlimited rage equals unlimited fun.
Yeah. And he's part of Luke Cage's precon deck, which comes with Righteous Purpose, which, if you guys don't remember, it's I believe, 2-cost support, which when an ally is down to 1 hit point, they get +2 to their attack and thwart. And Hulk, with 2 consequential, can get himself down to 1 health quite quickly compared to a normal 5 HP character. So I think people are going to be doing that as well. That's obviously like the precon kind of plan there, to make that final hit of Hulk hit even harder.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So then give him more punch, more pop there, and then you're in the aspect where you can then use the teamworks and use is it Unified Strike? Is that the ally attacks uses your hero?
Yeah, and I believe it prevents consequential damage, so both of those would work with Hulk.
Yeah, so you could get a big old punch in there too.
Do you have anything else you want to add about this card before we go?
I don't think so. I think I'm excited to try to get him to the table. I can definitely see the hesitancy that people will have, but I hope people go brew some exciting builds. I want to see the Justice build because we made no mention of Justice. So I want to see the Captain Marvel because she could get him out easy. Justice Hulk deck. I think the Captain Marvel Hulk team up would be a fun thematic one.
Yeah, Justice is funny. I'm like, how do I get attacked more on Justice? I could use Global Logistics, set the encounter deck, try and put some attacks in my way. It's a stretch. It's a little weird.
I like it.
But yeah, I mean, anything is possible when you've got a Hulk. I like the art here, and I'm really excited for this. I think what we came to kind of conclude, like at least what I said, earned power, you earn the power, and then he feels really good. It's going to be fun to build around that. We've seen an ally get stronger and stronger and stronger. People like to build up their board. Hulk is kind of building up his board, his attack as we go. So I'm really a big fan of this card.
Yeah, and being Defender traded, he'll get all the synergies that we see come out throughout this wave. So that'll be exciting too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me and taking a look at Hulk, and I hope everyone enjoys him. Okay, so that was Brandt from Step Into the Portal. Links to his channel below, links to Charr's channel, Andrej's channel, D20's channel, all below, along with a playlist with more good stuff. And that's it for guests on this video. But I want to talk about what the new allies mean in terms of the meta, in terms of how you might approach deck building going forwards. Previously in Marvel Champions, if you wanted to build some defensive allies into a deck outside of protection, there were quite limited choices to get more than one block out of them. We had Mockingbird, who could stun an enemy and also defend against an attack. Professor X can confuse the villain, which is blocking an activation, and he can defend an attack before he disappears. And then we had like the War Machine ally, but they aren't very popular. If you're a Guardian, you could have Groot. If you stack up a bunch of Avengers, you could have Captain America. But in general, in leadership specifically, there weren't really many allies that could stop 2 attacks. But that's now changed. We have She-Hulk from Basic, Valkyrie and Misty Knight both having tough status cards. You might not want to use them that way exactly, but maybe you do. And then we have the Iron Fist ally, who basically gains a functional defense stat based on his attack stat. Suddenly, leadership has access to 4 new allies that can potentially block 2 attacks very, very consistently, which is a big change. If you're someone like Star-Lord, you're going to appreciate this a lot. But even outside of leadership, She-Hulk again is a basic card, and although protection does have a lot of defensive kind of allies, they don't really interact with your defense stat, and Echo does, so even other aspects are getting a boost here. While you could use the last hit point on, Valkyrie, Misty Knight, She-Hulk to block a villain attack, they're doing a lot of other stuff before that. You don't just throw them out there and sacrifice them, and I think this marks a big shift in the design of the game. Less quickly disposable allies, more interesting ways to block attacks, and this continues into Justice. Now Cloak and Dagger are a bit of a weird one, because Cloak summons Dagger, and Dagger is very convenient to block attacks with, quickly get her down to 1 health, and then she's discarded because she's been obliterated. But Cloak can then bring her back. So it's taking 2 ally slots, but you're getting a lot of repeated blocks, and I think this is a theme here. We also have Ghost Rider, Blind Spot, and Captain Marvel coming up. These guys confuse enemies, and then with their last hit point, they can block an attack, or in the case of Ghost Rider and Blind Spot, they could just confuse again. So we're seeing a real pattern here of 1 ally, multiple blocked activations. So in general, getting more blocks out of less deck space is something I think people will do well to keep in mind for future deck building when Fear No Evil is released in just a couple days' time, and Luke and Jessica's packs are released around the 21st of August. But there is one more new upcoming Defender ally I haven't talked about yet. So if you stuck it out this far, here's a little bonus from me. Enter Hellcat. She's 4 cost, 2 thwarting, 2 attack, 3 hit points, defender and martial artist traded. And before we look at the text box, what we have here is an ally that's easily overpriced by 1 resource. And thankfully, their text does make them cheaper, but maybe not how you would have expected, because it says if your identity has the defender trait, this card gains action. Put Hellcat into play from your hand. At the end of the phase, discard her. And what that really means is, in some way, she's like a 0-cost event which can do either 2 threat removal or deal 2 damage. And let me tell you, that is both really efficient and really flexible. It is also so good compared to her otherwise being a bit overpriced for what she does. You would only run Hellcat if you're a defender. And I think this is so good, I'm putting her in most of my decks on most of my defenders. Unless for some reason they don't really want allies, I'm thinking Echo might want the deck space for events, but Hellcat is still really good. If you don't have a great hand of cards, you can just play her for 4 costs, kind of like a resource sink. Not ideal value, but at least you could spend your cards on something useful. But most of the time, as a 0-cost card, she's going to give you this really flexible ability to play out your hand, probably without wasting any resources. And if you don't play her, if you've got other stuff to do, it's not the end of the world. So I think it's a really, really nice card to have in your deck. But the thing is, since she's in play until the end of the phase, we could ready her up and use her again, which obviously leadership is going to be very good at. Luke Cage as well comes with the Harlem's Hero event, which allows him to ready characters he controls. So in a lot of cases, you might get a 4 or even 6 threat removal out of Hellcat, if you can pay for the readies as well. But something else really interesting is you're getting a 4-cost ally in for 1 effective resource. Just 1 card gone from your hand, Hellcat, like a 0-cost card. That means the sacrificial cards, Go Down Swinging and Noble Sacrifice, as well as all the others, have particularly good synergy with her. Now Hellcat is the final unrevealed defender ally in either Luke or Jessica's hero packs. And lastly, a card I really had to talk about, and that is the new basic player side scheme, Second Chance. This is a 0-cost player side scheme. It has 3 threat per person, goes into the victory display when defeated, and when defeated, it says each player may shuffle all of their identity-specific cards from their discard pile into their deck. This is pretty wild. Also, the flavor text says, let's do what heroes do best, save the day. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not planning to save the day with this card. I think the name Second Chance might be like, oh, you've got a second chance to play your identity-specific stuff. Maybe you missed it the first time. But guys, I see this card as the opportunity to absolutely annihilate the villain. I see this card as setting up a big finisher turn or two to knock out the bad guy, which could be saving the day, but I don't think it matches up with the name Second Chance. The way I'm excited to use this card is get this thing out on the board, and when I've got, I don't know, 1/3 of my deck left, a quarter, maybe only like 1 or 2 cards left before my deck resets, I will then knock this thing out with some threat removal, and suddenly the vast majority of my deck are now identity-specific cards, which are, on average, the strongest cards that will be in your deck, stronger than aspect or basic cards overall. But for some characters, they want to set some things up, or change certain things going on in the game, and then their cards are more powerful. So imagine you're playing T'Challa Black Panther from the core set, you now have all your Black Panther upgrades out, and suddenly you shuffle all 5 Wakanda Forevers back into your deck. That is going to be pretty devastating. Cable getting all of his events, as well as other cards, but I'm thinking about the events. He probably have a lot of his other cards in play at the point you might trigger this. His events get powered up by side schemes in the victory display. Second Chance not only adds another side scheme to that, but now all your telekinetic blasts, all of your mind scans, they're going to line up and you're going to get some huge numbers. Colossus gets some enormously cool combos with losing toughs, getting toughs, losing toughs, and if you have Iron Will in play, suddenly making most of your deck your own cards is really good. I think Drax, if you can get the threat off this side scheme, once you have full Vengeance counters, every card is just going to be incredibly super powerful. The same goes for Hercules. Once you have 2, or better yet, 3 labors, no enemy is going to stand in your way. If you guys have played the Special Doctor, SPDR, Penny Parker, you might know a little something about late game or systems go. Why not just put them all back into your deck? How about Phoenix? What if you play Second Chance, then you go Unleashed, and then you get all of your cards back in, but now they're powered up. And last but definitely not least, one of my favorites, it is Star-Lord. What if when his deck is nearly empty, you absolutely fill it to the brim with devastating game-ending combo cards, all of your sliding shots, all of your daring escapes, and you basically can then look at the villain and perform like a Thanos snap, and you're going to be able to achieve a devastating victory. So yeah, I'm kind of a fan of this player's side scheme. In the right place on the right character at the right time. Seems like a ton of fun and actually quite good. And that kind of brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much to D20 Woodworking, Andrej from the Crash Space, Charr from the Charred Gambit, and Brandt from Step Into the Portal. Links to them below, links to even more people below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are looking forward to Jessica and Luke's hero packs. The aspect cards look amazing. I haven't showed everything off in this video. Definitely check out some of the other creators and things. But what I can say is that aside from just the decks themselves, the back of the pack cards are absolutely crammed with good stuff. Instead of having like 3 copies of one event, you've got like an ally, a side scheme, something else cool, a bunch of really, really impactful things. So I absolutely love that. Shoutouts to the designers of these packs, Aaron Holtum and Frank Brooks. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. See you in the next video.